In this video, I'm going to show you how I like to restring my guitars. Before I begin, I like to use a little bit of pencil graphite at the nut and the saddles. Due to the atomic makeup of graphite, it helps to act as a natural lubricant and will prevent those nasty metallic clicking noises that you sometimes hear when tuning or bending a string. It will also help with tuning stability, as it prevents the strings from getting hung up at the nut and the saddles. When uncurling a new string, they can sometimes act like coiled up springs and whip out at great speed, causing injury to eyes and other sensitive areas. You can avoid this dreadful fate by holding the string at the sharp end, much like a snake handler would hold a venomous snake, and start to uncurl the string at the ball end. The string may still whip out at speed, but as long as you keep a tight grip on the sharp end, it's unlikely to cause any pain or injury if the ball end does hit you. I like to begin with the string's machine head that is nearest the nut, which in this case is the low E string. The reason for this is if I were to start with the high E string and work this way, the string that you did previously can get in the way as you progress through the strings. I do also like to turn the machine heads until the hole which the string is going to pass through is at a right angle to the direction of the strings. You'll see the reason for this later. So, with your now safely uncurled guitar string, insert the pointy end into the correct hole for the string that you're changing, which in this case is the one on the right for the low E string, and gently pull the string all the way through until it goes no further. Bring the sharp end of the string to its corresponding tuning post, and just like threading a needle, pass the string through the hole in the post from the inside out towards the machine head. The string should start from the inside and go outwards, not from the outside going in. Another way to remember this is that the string should always be pointing towards the tuner as it passes through the hole. Now, this next part is where a lot of people get stuck or confused. How much slack should you leave before you start winding up the string? One of the ways that I've found works for me is to gently karate chop the fretboard at around the 12th fret and use your 4 fingers as a gauge. This should get you just the right amount of winds around the post when you're finished winding up the string. What I do is add about 1 centimeter's worth of slack per string on top of my hand in order to get the right amount of winds for each string. Another way to measure the correct amount of slack is by pulling the string through the hole, which in this case has to be parallel with the direction of the string instead of at a right angle. Count 2 posts up from the string that you're at currently. Grab the string at the second post and pull back through. This should give you plenty of slack to work with. With the right amount of slack decided, you can lock off the string by creating a right angle bend in it just like this. This is why earlier I suggested that you turn the machine heads so the hole is at a right angle to the direction of the strings. I've met a few people who like to pass the string over itself, tie it in knots and all kinds of craziness. In my experience, this is completely unnecessary and only makes it a nightmare to remove the string next time you change strings. I do also like to give the machine head a few anti-clockwise turns just to tighten the string slightly so it can't slide back through the hole. Now this next step is a bit awkward and requires some dexterity, but in a few strings time you will get it. Using my right hand, I place my middle ring and pinky fingers underneath the string and gently pull it to tension. The bend that you created in the string will make sure that it stays in place. Now I place my index finger on top of the string and gently press down so that my index finger touches the wood of the headstock. What this does is make sure that when we start winding up the string, the winds occur from the bottom of the post upwards. Now all we have to do is turn the machine head in an anti-clockwise direction, which will tighten the string. I do like to bend the excess out of the way, it makes this part a bit easier. And while there are tools available to quicken this process, for the sake of instruction I'm going to do this one by hand. Be sure not to pull too tightly on the string with your right hand. You should gradually release the tension as the string becomes more and more tight. but always leave just enough tension so as to get neat, tight winds around the tuning post. By keeping your index finger planted on the headstock as much as you can, it'll ensure that the string will wind below itself rather than above. Eventually the string will become so tight that your right hand actually touches the fretboard. You can now gently release the string and continue turning just a little more until the string appears taut. There's no need for any fine tuning just yet. Now I'm going to quickly replace the next 4 strings off camera using the exact same methods, and then I'll do the final high E string slowly for you to watch more closely. So we made it to the last string. First I'm going to pass the string through the post, gauge the amount of slack using whichever method you prefer from earlier, bend in the right angle to lock off the string and give the machine head a few anti-clockwise turns. Bend that excess out of the way. Grab the string from underneath using your middle ring and pinky fingers, place your index finger on top and press it flat down to the headstock. Turn the machine head anti-clockwise by hand or with a string winder, ensuring that the string being fed from your index finger into the tuning post wraps underneath itself with each wind. Keeping your index finger flat on the headstock will ensure that this happens by itself. Now all that's left to do is carefully tune each string to pitch. I like to do this with the guitar facing away from me with a new set of strings, just in case of any breaks. Finally, I like to gently stretch each string a few times and retune. Steel strings have a surprising amount of elasticity, which needs to be stretched out in order for the string to stay in tune. I really hope this guide was helpful. If anyone has any suggestions, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. See you in the next one.